Tanystropheus was a lizard with an absurdly long neck that seemed almost unfit for existence. Moving on land was extremely awkward for it, although most scientists believe it slithered in a snake-like manner. With its clawed, sturdy legs, it would latch onto stationary supports like rocks or logs, while its incredibly long neck allowed it to make swift strikes at passing fish. This feeding method is also indirectly supported by its needle-like teeth. Dimetrodon is quite possibly one of the earliest ancestors of all dinosaurs on our planet. It was characterized by a massive sail on its back and had a body structure reminiscent of modern iguanas, though it was bulkier than today's reptiles. Scientists agree on the purpose of its disproportionately large sail. In the relatively cold climate of its time, every bit of thermal energy counted. This structure was filled with blood vessels that captured beneficial solar calories over a large surface area. Longisquama is an unusual creature with a small body and enormous, sparse feathers on its back, leaving scientists puzzled. There is much debate about the purpose of such a sparse sail. While the function of Dimetrodon's sail is more or less understood, finding a rational explanation for longisquamas is quite challenging. The only plausible theory suggests that the feathers were used to attract mates during courtship displays, and it's also possible that they grew during specific periods. Parasaurolophus, once a lizard, led a semi-aquatic lifestyle, but its crest, notable for its significant height, is particularly interesting. Inside this crest are channels connected to the nasal cavity. Scientists believe that while moving along the bottom of a waterway, it could easily use this organ for breathing. Another theory suggests that it could produce loud, trumpet-like sounds with a sharp exhalation, which also helped it effectively hide from predators in the water. Therizinosaurus is a creature with distinctly disproportionate claws and almost upright posture, looking quite ridiculous. The purpose of such impressive Freddy Krueger-style claws is still a topic of debate. Its skeleton appears so bizarre that for a long time, it was classified either as a turtle or as a mishmash of fossils from different species. Recently, feathers have also been added to its reconstruction. Share your thoughts in the comments about why it needed such an unusual tool. It has made it into the Guinness World Records twice as the strangest species due to its exceptionally long known fossilized claws. Amargasaurus, discovered 35 years ago, continues to genuinely amaze those who see its reconstruction. Every attempt to restore its appearance varies significantly. One thing is clear, its neck and nape were covered with enormous spines. Unlike Dimetrodon, there are no hints of a sail, so scientists traditionally attribute these features to either mating displays or basic protection against predators. There is also no evidence that it could control these structures, but researchers have found the presence of bony coverings. Dilophosaurus was an unusual predator that roamed the landscapes of North America, adorned with a pair of crests on its head. Paleontologists suggest that these crests might have been used for thermoregulation and may have served as a kind of identification mark or a sign of pronounced sexual dimorphism. Their complete structure allowed for minimal strain on the neck, and there is a belief that these crests were brightly colored, although this cannot be proven. Deinocheirus remains a topic of debate among paleontologists regarding its reconstructions, but it is evident that it had an absurdly large hump and a small head, along with disproportionately large front limbs equipped with enormous claws. The protrusion on its back lacked fleshy structure, leaving its purpose unclear. Some speculate that it might have increased buoyancy, served as a reservoir for water, or regulated blood circulation. Additionally, Deinocheirus had small eyes and a toothless beak. A crotodon resembles a person who has lost hair on the crown of their head with age. Its disproportionately large head looks as if it was attached from another, larger dinosaur. It seems that it used the bony growth on its head to ram aggressive predators, similar to modern rams, or to settle disputes with its kind in battles over territory or mates. To manage such a heavy head, it required a very powerful neck. Styracosaurus possesses one of the most unusual appearances among all dinosaurs. While the more famous Triceratops had only small spiky protrusions on its frill, here we observe true spikes resembling swords on the forehead. It lacked horns, but a single means of defense protruded directly from the nasal part of its skull. Not every predator could open its mouth against such an unusual defense mechanism, and breaking off these spikes was no easy task. Incisivosaurus is one of the ancestors of modern birds, and its body was completely covered in feathers, as confirmed by scientists. However, that's not its most distinctive feature. It seems that its teeth were already becoming rudimentary as the species transitioned to a true beak, but something went awry during evolution. At the front, it had a pair of particularly prominent upper jaw teeth resembling rabbit incisors. Given their number and the absence of corresponding parts in the lower jaw, they likely served no practical purpose. Atopodentatus is a dinosaur that once inhabited prehistoric oceans, but its mouth structure elicits clear astonishment, confusion, and even laughter. Living with such a clamp on your lips in today's world would be quite challenging, but there's a sensible explanation for it. It appears that it grazed on algae in coastal areas, scraping them off overgrown rocks, and it could also tear off attached mollusks. It bears a slight resemblance to the modern platypus, but they are not genetically related. Epidexipteryx was a small dinosaur that once hid in the treetops of what is now southern China. It had an enormous feathered tail, a funny face with a short, toothy beak, and a very unusual structure in its front limbs, where the pinky was the longest and the other fingers gradually decreased in size. Climbing trees must have been quite convenient for it, drawing a clear analogy to the modern hands and wings of mammals. Pegamastax was a small herbivorous dinosaur with a very unusual appearance. Its special, sturdy beak allowed it to easily snip off tough shoots and woody stems, but a pair of tusks also protruded from its lower jaw. This species may have been omnivorous, which would explain the need for such an unusual mouth structure. Its oddities don't end there. Its entire back was covered in stiff spikes, reminiscent of modern porcupines. The length of its front limbs suggests that it could alternate between walking on its hind legs and using all four as support. Pterodostro brings us to one of the most unusual representatives of flying dinosaurs. Its mouth resembled an upward curved shoehorn filled with bristly teeth. This genus, much like in the modern world, was designed for one type of food, tiny crustaceans, plankton, or floating insects, similar to what baleen whales consume today. It's nearly impossible to list all the unusual dinosaurs in one video. This is just one of many thematic overviews of ancient reptiles on our channel. Subscribe if you're interested in the prehistoric world, give us a like, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss new videos. Comment and share the link with your friends on social media. Until next time, friends. Throughout the existence of our planet, life has often taken on the most bizarre forms, and even during the age of dinosaurs, there were such unusual body shapes that it's hard to believe they ever existed. Fossils provide direct evidence, and the unique features of these ancient creatures can easily be explained by their lifestyles or habitats.